What's up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are having yourselves a great week so far. Getting ready for the weekend. We are back to talk about episode 4 of Starfleet Academy. Do a quick little rundown of this episode, which, I mean, to be honest, this episode probably wasn't that bad compared to the first three. I found myself kind of enjoying it. Um, this is a pure Jaden episode. So one of the things that this episode dives into is, at least from the Jaden perspective, of I I guess you can say it was basically the same situation that Worf was dealing with in the next generation. What does it mean to be Klingon and a Starfleet officer? Obviously, you saw that Worf struggled with that a ton throughout uh, this series, and so you kind of get hints of this here. So we get some backstory on Jaden as well. He comes from basically a, how do you say it, polyamorous family where he has two dads and a mom and a brother. The brother seems to be the only one who sees Jaden for what he truly is. Uh, and that's not a Klingon warrior. Now the whole situation with the Klingons is after the burn, kind of like was Beta Z. They kind of splinter off. Have not had contact with the Federation. Not really sure how long it says, but they just haven't. And apparently Kronos was destroyed at some point. That's okay. That's interesting. And so they basically have not had a home world for who knows how long. And so um, basically the students are re-engaging in debate, basically the debate teams and stuff like that. And so Mir seems to be a natural at it. He knocks him out of the park, honestly. Uh, and then, but Jaden, his thing is he struggles. He struggles with, like, speaking and stuff like that. It's not really one of his greatest strengths and stuff like that. Um, throughout the episode, we learned that uh his parents, they were I want to say a refugee ship. I think that's what they said it was, with 8 other Klingon house families, and there was an accident. The ship had a malfunction and ultimately crashed. And at least at the time, it is to believe that Jaden's parents were on it, and they don't know whether or not they made it out alive. Um, it's tricky because their relationship with the Federation's relationship with the Klingons has not been good for years, since the burn and everything like that. And even Jaden, acknowledges that it would be hard for Klingons. And he doesn't really. It's a tough situation because Nala tries to talk to him about it. She gives him the information before it starts to spread throughout the school about what happened. And now Jaden is the only Klingon on campus, obviously, so you can pretty much feel like he is an outsider in this situation, with the exception of the cadet master, Luna. I think it's Luna, the Jim Hadar slash King Klingon hybrid. And you can tell, particularly with her, she probably she talks about it later on in the episode. She's talks about how, like, she should have immediately talked to Jaden, not as his cadet master, but as a Klingon elder. You can kind of tell that she like gives him a look and everything like that. Because I mean, other than Jaden, she's the only like half Klingon this thing here. So the news starts to spread throughout the school, and obviously everybody is giving their condolences and everything like that. Um, and so then the doctor is like, all right, let's get back to class and everything, and let's get back into the debate and everything like that. And then one of the students is kind of like, I don't see how we could have it, class and discuss things when, basically a situation has arisen, and it gets a little heated in the room, and to the point where the doctor's like, we're not discussing this, we're not, anything like that. And even Jaden's like, well, why not? You know, let's debate it and everything like that. And Genesis and Murr try to uh kind of like ease Jaden back a little bit, but he seems very much hell bent on doing this. And so the doctor agrees, and he's like, uh, "Oh, this is a situation that just happened. If we're gonna do this, you need to have all your facts straight. You need to have all the information correct." So he agrees to it. Um, then it gets a little bit more dicey as Caleb is like, a lot of them are pretty much in the affirmative of Starfleet should provide aid to the Klingons. Jaden, on the other hand, is like, no, he's going to argue against it, or he's going to argue how did you say it? Um, he's going to argue in the negative, because basically the Jaden Klingons have to be Klingons. They have to do things their own way. And we get more of this when Admiral Vance meets Nala and convinces her to meet General, well, I forgot his name. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Let me see if I can pull up his name real quick. There we go. Where are you at? Oh, it's Laura Turk. That's her name. Okay. Um, where are you at? Oh, here he is. Obel Wojcik. Uh, because apparently years ago, him and Nala I guess, had a fling for each other, and Vance wants to try to, have Nala engage in conversation, because Vance has found a planet with the same atmosphere, the same conditions as what Kronos once were. So a potential new homeworld for the Klingons. But the Klingons they're not going to accept that, because they're going to view it as charity, and that is not the Klingon way. The Klingons, all they have left are their traditions. And even Obel, tells Nala that years ago he would have done it, and been dishonored or whatever. But now it's just, things change and everything like that. And so he basically said he basically can't do it. He's not going to do it. He's not going to accept it, because they had to keep this meeting a secret, because he would be dishonored if the other members of the Klingon houses knew he was doing this meeting on a potential charity thing, if that makes sense. But he said he will look into the situation with Jaden and his parents in that refugee ship. He said he will take a look into that and let Nala know more. So we get to the uh, something I haven't really talked about is the flashbacks that we get. The flashbacks are about Jaden and his family and his older brother, like I mentioned at the beginning, who seemed to understood that Jaden's not like other Klingons. He doesn't want to be a warrior. He even presents his brother even presents Jaden the sphere that gave the message about Starfleet Academy reopening back up. Now his father, or at least one of the fathers, are not big. They're not big keen on that. They just don't like the Federation. At this point, um, and then it becomes a much bigger rift when the brother is killed. Um, trying to get some kind of like Starfleet or some Federation technology or something like that. He ends up getting stabbed and is like I think it was like a poison knife or something like that. Um, and it's a tough situation because you can see Jaden probably feels like his father if his father wasn't so hell-bent and angry when it came to Starfleet, he could have gotten that technology that could have saved him. And even his dad earlier in the episode is like he's not denying plants and herbs can help, you know, but he just doesn't approve of the lifestyle that Jaden wants to do. So we get to the debate, and Nala shows up with a hangover basically, and we're just going through and everybody's just talking. Um, you know, Starfleet should do this, do this, do this, and then they're like, no, this, and it was just now we get to Caleb and Jaden, and it gets very heated with the two. It gets very heated with the two. Both are just quoting Starfleet regulations about situations, and it gets to a point to where, like I mentioned, Jaden's like Klingons must, Starfleet can't, they can't intervene. They have to let the Klingons be who they are. They're not going to accept any sort of offer of help from the Federation whatsoever. It gets to a certain point to where the doctor is like, okay, both of you, separate. And we get to where Laura comes in and she talks to Jaden about just has that conversation with him. And because one of the things Jaden talks about is how his dad was so angry at him that he missed this bird of prey. But Laura tells him, no, that's not the case. He missed it, so he gave you a way to be free, to pursue your dreams, because your father saw you for who you were, not a warrior who values death, but one that values life. That realization comes, and he heads back out, and he to the debate stage, and he talks about how it is a struggle being a Klingon warrior and a Starfleet officer. He even mentioned that Caleb made some good points in his arguments, but you have to let Klingons be Klingons. These things are not mutually exclusive, and so he comes up with a plan. So the Klingons won't take, I believe it was Agarius 5 or something like that, whatever the name of the planet was. If Starfleet, if the Klingons won't accept this planet as a like a charity or whatever, well, guess what? We'll just have to fight the Klingons for it, because one of the things is there's been several Klingon refugees posted on different planets in the system, and so what they do is they take the ship out and meet at the planet, and several other Federation ships meet out there. Klingon ships come out of warp, and it gets to a point to where like uh, Vance is like, hey, we're declaring war on you because you're trespassing on Federation property, basically. And even Obel is just kind of like he kind of like knows what they're doing. So we get a pretty nice little cool space battle happening. No really major damage or anything like that. It wasn't a real fight. It was just a show. And so that way it basically gave the Klingons a out to take the planet. So Obel beams on board, talks with Vance and Nala, and presents Jaden. I forgot what he called it. It's basically like a bow. And then he tells them they found his parents. They're safe. They're good. Um, and the episode basically ends with Jaden and Caleb just hanging out, eating, and just listening to that Starfleet Academy message. And that is basically the end of the episode. I thought this was a little bit better compared to the first three episodes. Although there was a weird little thing because in the episode, Darum goes to Jaden's room and tries to help him out, trying to like gain confidence in speaking and stuff like that. Tries to do like a Kalarian breathing routine to kind of help. It got a little, I don't know, it felt a little weird right there. I was just like, I don't know about that. But other than that, I thought the episode was relatively fine. Like I said, probably better than the first three. That's not really saying much because the first three weren't really that great either. But yeah, we're pretty much what, like, how many episodes are in this season? Let's see. 10. So we got 6 episodes left before we're done with this first season of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. But guys, that is relatively it. If you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure you comment below. Check out my other locations, such as the gaming channel, Kick, Twitch, Rumble, Patreon, and the Nerd Talk podcast on Spotify. All that you can find down in the description below. But once again, thank you for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.